Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So thank you once again very much, Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu Prabhu. Thank you very much, dear wonderful devotees, for kindly gathering here. And we are continuing Śrī-Upadeśāmṛtam. And previously, we paused at a particular place where we were discussing the 5th verse of Śrī-Upadeśāmṛtam. We will continue from that point onwards today. But before we do that, it is important to offer pranams to Shri Rupa Goswami. So we will offer pranams to Shri Rupa Goswami with this prayer. Shri Rupasya padasvadaha, Shri Rupasya padairiha, bhavatyeva sada tasmat, Shri Rupasya padam shraye. In this world, the constant sweet experience of Shri Rupa Pada, the feet of the beautiful looking Krishna, happens certainly through Shri Rupa Pada, the wonderful poetry of Shri Rupa Goswami. Therefore, I take shelter of Shri Rupa Pada, the lotus feet of Shri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada. So it is Shri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada who is mercifully revealing all these verses to us and giving us Upadeshamritam. Amrita is the condensed extract. Dear devotees, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the history of churning of the ocean is described. And when the ocean was churned by the gods and the demons, both of them were looking for the most essential extract of the ocean. And Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, what was the most essential extract which was to be obtained by churning the ocean?
It was the nectar of immortality.
Yeah. And what is the technical name of nectar in Sanskrit?
Amrita.
Amrita. So Amrita is the most essential extract of the ocean. So here also we have an ocean, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. And the most essential extract of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is presented in terms of Upadesha Amrita. Therefore, we are studying the most condensed extract of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu in 11 verses. Now, having said that, we will move ahead and we will go back to where we paused last time. We were discussing the verse, 5th verse, where it was said, Shushrushaya bhajana vigyam ananyam. A person who is ananya bhajana vigya, who is fully expert uttama adhikari in the science of bhajan, in the science of Krishna bhakti, that person should be respected by Sushrusha. And last time I defined what is Sushrusha: by service, by inquiries, by hearing from them. All these things we should do. And continuing that, we saw Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's instructions on why guidance that we need should come from a living individual. This was clearly spoken by him last time. A question was asked and we discussed that question last time, that if Jesus Christ is Jagat Guru, why can't we accept his teachings? And he gave an answer to that by saying that simply by reading the books, we will misunderstand the Tattva. We need personal guidance. Secondly, this guidance should also be personalized and tailor-made. And because one size does not fit all. So sometimes a devotee may want to ask a question. I want to chant extra rounds. How many extra rounds can I chant? So that answer has to be personalized and tailor-made by seeing the capacity of the devotee. Books will not give that answer. Thirdly, in some cases, we need guidance that is unconventional. And I gave an example of unconventional guidance last time, when I specified the example of a devotee who's working on a farm, and because of services on the farm, he is not able to chant his 16 rounds. And an answer to that question cannot be given if we follow the convention. But Srila Prabhupada broke his own convention of 16 rounds and told him that it is okay for you if you don't do it. So that is what is called unconventional guidance. The Guru should be able to sometimes break the convention that he has set for the sake of the disciples' progress. The book will never be able to break the convention, because books by default are meant to set conventions, not break them. So therefore, unconventional only when needed. And the overarching principle was that guidance should come from an uttama adhikari ideally. This is what Srila Prabhupada also says in his purport to the 5th verse. At the very end of the 5th verse, Srila Prabhupada ends the purport by saying the following. A neophyte Vaishnava, or a Vaishnava situated on the intermediate platform, that means a Madhyam adhikari. So he's speaking about Kanishth and Madhyam, can also accept disciples. But such disciples must be on the same platform. And it should be understood that they cannot advance very well towards the ultimate goal of life. Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, Prabhu, what is the ultimate goal of life?
To develop Krishna prema and go back to the spiritual world to play with Krishna.
Okay. So the first part is the ultimate goal, to develop Krishna prema. Going back to Godhead is a side effect. So that whether we go back or not, that is Krishna's headache. But to develop Krishna prema, that is our headache. And the disciple cannot advance very well towards the ultimate goal of life, Krishna prema, under his insufficient guidance. And insufficient guidance is the term which we should know here. Therefore, a disciple should be careful to accept an uttama adhikari as a spiritual master. Now, I specified last time that this spiritual master can also be one's shiksha guru. So one should have at least one, either the diksha guru or the shiksha guru. Ideally, the diksha guru can act as the shiksha guru, or one can have another shiksha guru with the permission of the diksha guru. But one of them should be an uttama adhikari, and that guru will help us progress towards the ultimate goal of life. Now, this is very much clear, because unless one accepts such a personality, it becomes impossible to advance. People feel stagnated, and then they come up with various issues such as, I am not feeling the happiness in Krishna consciousness. I don't know what has happened. Initially, it was so nice. Now I am not able to feel any progress. So all of this is happening because of insufficient guidance, because the path is not illuminated by the guidance of the uttama adhikari. Now, see, Srila Prabhupada says a Kanishth or Madhyam can accept disciples. He is a little liberal in this regard. Srila Prabhupada's guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, is little more stricter in this regard. So I would like to highlight a conversation that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had regarding Guru Tattva. This conversation with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was published in the Bengali periodical named Dainik Nadia Prakash in Janmashtami 1934 edition. This conversation took place between Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and a zamindar, a very wealthy landlord, pious landlord, named Shri Rajendranath Pal Chaudhary Mahashay. So he asked many questions to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gave answers. The first question he asked is, can't a Kanishth Vaishnava become a guru? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur replied, Kanishth, Madhyam and Uttam are gradations amongst Vaishnavas. In the Kanishth stage of Vaishnavism, only non-Vaishnavism is absent. This is the qualification, he said. The only qualification of a Kanishth adhikari is that he is not a non-Vaishnava, which means he is just a basic Vaishnava right now. He has no advanced knowledge of Vaishnavism. That is what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is saying. Then he continues to say, knowledge of a particular subject can only be obtained from one who has experience in that subject. If someone were given the position of a judge, how would he judge if he has not even elementary knowledge of justice? One who has no knowledge of mathematics cannot teach that subject. If one wants to know how to swim, one must go to a swimmer. If one wishes to learn how to be a smith, one must go to a smith. So, in this way, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is indicating that a Kanishth adhikari does not have knowledge of the path of Vaishnavism. And then he continues and says, there is a shop near a house where things are purchased regularly. However, at present, the shop is in a deplorable state and its products have become substandard. Meanwhile, the shop next to it sells wholesome fresh goods. What will the customer do? Will he continue to purchase inferior goods simply to honor tradition? Or will he select fresh items? If an inexperienced family doctor is incapable of treating a patient properly, is it not proper to consult a more knowledgeable doctor? In such a situation, if a good doctor is found in Switzerland, he speaks of, because in those days, Switzerland had many good doctors. He said, in such a situation, if a good doctor is found in Switzerland, then he is brought in. Just as when one falsely expects to find wealth from a pauper is a poor man, or wisdom from a fool, similarly, there is the rule, andhe naiva niyamanam. When a blind man leads another blind man, both will attain a dark destination and nothing more. Therefore, one must approach a transparent guru. Such things demand cognitional activities, which means we should check the guru. And if an opaque guru comes in between and creates an obstacle in achieving them, then it becomes a matter of great misery. So it is very clear. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is mincing no words here, dear devotees, by saying that the Kanishth adhikari is in no position of guiding the student. The Kanishth adhikari does not have sufficient knowledge of Vaishnavism. Therefore, they cannot guide others. Although they may have taken the roles of guides, but their guidance is very limited and preliminary. The disciple has to move ahead, dear devotees. Again, he asks a question. Isn't it possible for a person with meager knowledge to become a guru? Again, he reiterates the question. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, no, there is no place for laghutva, lightness or meager knowledge within gurutva, heaviness. One should know that there is not a trace of spirituality when the disciple detects faults such as poverty, meager knowledge, and deviations from the proper code of conduct within the guru, and considers the guru to be a recipient of the mercy, while the guru also considers himself most fortunate on receiving a certificate from the disciple. So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is speaking about the situation when the guru has meager knowledge or the guru is devoid of conduct, but still the disciple thinks, I will worship and honor my guru even if he is devoid of knowledge, and I will give him a certificate of being great. And the guru also thinks, wow, my disciple is worshipping me even though I don't have these qualities. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says there is not a trace of spirituality when in such a situation. Okay, this was about shiksha, about guidance. What about diksha? What about just giving the mantra? So the question he asks is, isn't the Kanishth adhikari qualified to give diksha into the mantra at least? Answer is, where is the Kanishth adhikari coming from here? So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur becomes a little put off by the question. Why again and again are you asking about Kanishth? Where is he coming from again and again in the discussion? Who gave him the adhikar? And then he very clearly says a Kanishth adhikari can never become a guru. See, this is in contrast with what we heard from Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada said a neophyte Vaishnava can also accept disciples, but those disciples must be on the same level. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur takes a stricter position and says a Kanishth adhikari can never become a guru in the true sense. Then the question asked is, okay, at least can a Madhyam adhikari give diksha? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says he can only perform the initial duties of diksha. It is the uttam adhikari Mahabhagavat Vaishnav who is actually the diksha guru. So here is where he specifies his heart. He says actually the person who can give complete guidance is the best candidate for giving diksha. A Madhyam adhikari can perform the initial duties of diksha. Maybe somebody can take initiation from a Madhyam adhikari. But in order to progress into the higher stages of devotion, they will need the guidance of an uttam adhikari. So it is unavoidable, dear devotees. And therefore, the best situation is when one gets diksha as well as shiksha, both from the same uttam adhikari. And the equivalent situation is when one might get diksha from a Madhyam adhikari and shiksha from an uttam adhikari. Both situations are good enough. But to get diksha from a Kanishth adhikari and shiksha from a Kanishth adhikari is dangerous for the devotee. Therefore, the acharyas have spoken against it. Dear devotees, please note, there is a reason why acharyas have spoken against it. Now, somebody may say, why not forego all of this? Can't I make progress by, studying books? So the Zamindar asked Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, is the study of spiritual books or periodicals also considered to be Shravan and Kirtan? Can't I perform Shravan and Kirtan by just studying books and magazines and periodicals of Bhakti? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, in attempting to understand a book with my own realizations, I will actually understand something different due to my perception being covered with anarthas. So this is a very clear answer to people who say that we will progress simply by reading the books and the magazines. When we read the books, we have our lens on our eyes and we read a book with our lens. We don't always read a book with the lens that is expected, from us by the author of the book. The author of the book is expecting us to put another lens, which we may not have put on because of our conditioning. Therefore, with our anarthas, we may misunderstand a particular book. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, therefore, Shri Swarup Damodar has said, and he quotes 2 verses from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yah Bhagavata Pada Vaishnavera Sthane Ekanta Ashraya Kara Chaitanya Charane Chaitanyera Bhakta Ganesh Nitya Kara Sangha Taveta Jani Basiddhant Samudra Taranga. Bhagavata Pada. Go and study the Srimad Bhagavatam Vaishnavera Sthane, personally from a Vaishnava. Ekanta Ashraya Kara. Chaitanya Charane. Totally surrender at the feet of a Vaishnava and always associate with the devotees of Sri Chaitanya. Chaitanyera Bhakta Ganer Nitya Karasam. Tabeta Janiba. Only then will you understand Siddhanta Samudra Tarang, the waves of the ocean of devotional conclusions. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is mincing no words here. Anybody who has even a slight doubt about the intentions of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that slight doubt will be dissolved by reading this entire conversation. So it is very clear to us, dear devotees. I am not saying because of my purvagraha, because of my bias, that an uttam adhikari should be selected. No, it is not my purvagraha. It is not my presupposition, my bias, that I am favoring guidance from an uttam adhikari. I am speaking so because it has been spoken not only by Srila Prabhupada, but also by Srila Prabhupada's Guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and also by all the previous acharyas. Dear devotees, therefore, please take this very seriously. Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, Prabhu, if you have to learn how to physically train yourself, physical fitness, will you take a book and train yourself, Prabhu?
No, you need a teacher.
And which type of teacher do you need? Somebody who has just opened a new gymnasium, or somebody who is expert since many years and has been recognized by the government?
The second one.
Yeah. So obviously, when we are doing these things for ordinary day-to-day life, why are we being neglectful when it comes to spiritual life? definitely we need guidance from an expert in this regard. And therefore, the need of selecting such a guru is there. Now, moving ahead, a doubt arises at this point of time in the heart of many individuals. The doubt arises that a person did not accept an uttama adhikari as a diksha guru. What can they do next? So this doubt is pertinent because many individuals, when they accept a diksha guru, they don't accept a diksha guru based on the criteria given in Shastra. Shastra's criteria I specified last time. Shastra says Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. I specified these two criteria. Shrotriyam should be very learned in the science of bhakti, the Vedic science, and Brahmanishtham should be firmly fixed on the path, dedicated towards the path. This person should be selected according to Shastra as the guru. Rupa Goswami also said that Uttam Adhikari is a person who is Shastra Yukti Sunipuna, who is very expert in the logic of Shastra and in the revealed scriptures of devotion. And he has firm faith. All these pramanas were given last time. Unfortunately, certain individuals select gurus out of their own whims and fancies. When they are doing so, they are in fact projecting their own mental qualifications of guru upon a certain person and then selecting that person. So sometimes I have heard this, sometimes one time I heard one particular lady saying this. And this lady is not from a Vaishnava society, but she is from outside the Vaishnava society. She selected a guru by watching the TV. And she said to me, when I first saw him on TV, he appeared so beautiful while he was singing. And as he was singing the kirtan and bhajan, I became so mesmerized by seeing him. And just by seeing his beauty, I decided in my mind that this person is my guru. So when she said that to me, I kept quiet, because in such situation, it is best to keep quiet. This person has not selected a guru based on Shrotriyam Brahmanishtham. These are qualifications. He appeared very beautiful. He was looking so handsome. When first time I saw him, I was smitten by his beauty. These are qualifications for selecting Mr. Universe, not for selecting a guru. So unfortunately, there are some individuals who select a guru like this. He appeared so smart, he appeared so handsome, and he was so beautiful. And the way he spoke, I was completely mesmerized. So they end up selecting a person not according to Shastra. Now, what can they do next? Later, they realized the importance of selecting an Uttam Adhikari as guru. So there is one solution given by an associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu named Shri Narahari Sarkar. Shri Narahari Sarkar is one of the branches of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's tree. And Shri Narahari Sarkar has written a literature named Shri Krishna Bhajanamritam. In Shri Krishna Bhajanamritam, Shri Narahari Sarkar says, Yadi tav alpabalau, that if one's existing diksha as well as shiksha gurus are alpabalau, are both of meager capabilities, and you know that they are of meager capabilities, tathapi anya mahatam mukhat shiksha, then one may approach another great personality. But shiksha vishesham gyatvapi, but on hearing from the mouths of such great Vaishnavas, gurave deyam, one must bring back those specific teachings to one's existing gurus. Tadeva gurushu pathiniyam, one should reiterate such teachings in front of one's gurus. And na tu gurau hela kartavya, one should never disregard one's existing gurus who are in good standing. Important thing is who are in good standing. If the guru is not in good standing, then you can select another guru. But if the guru is in good standing, if the character is still good, even though the guru may be a Kanishth adhikari, still one must bring back the teachings one has heard from another great Vaishnava back to one's guru and reiterate and check with one's guru from time to time. So this is the ideal code of conduct given by Shri Narahari Sarkar in case of a person who has selected a Diksha Guru but is not satisfied with the Diksha Guru because the Diksha Guru is not able to guide them as the Uttam Adhikari is able to guide them. So this code of conduct is very clearly mentioned in the Shri Krishna Bhajanamritam. Now this is also emphasized by Srila Jiva Goswami in the Bhakti Sandarbha. Sri Jiva Goswami also says the same thing. Sri Jiva Goswami says in Bhakti Sandarbha, Shri Guru Agyaya Tat Sevana Virodhena Chanyesham api Vaishnavanam Sevanam Shreyah. To serve Vaishnavas other than one's Guru is beneficial only when done with the Guru's permission, first and foremost. And secondly, that too in such a way that it doesn't hamper the Guru's service. Anyatha doshah syat. Otherwise, there is a fault. Because in Vaishnavism, you cannot divorce a Guru who is in good standing. You cannot separate yourself from a Guru whom you have selected. We cannot separate ourselves from a Guru whom we have selected. And if the Guru is in good standing, we cannot separate ourselves from that particular Guru. So there is no question of separation or divorce in the case of a Guru who is in good standing. So permission from a Guru should be sought. Otherwise, anyatha doshah syat. There is a fault. Yatha Shri Naradoktav. Gurau sannihite yastu pujayedanyam agratah sadurgatim avapnoti pujanam tasya nishphalam. Shri Narad says, one who gives greater respect to another person in front of the Guru without permission from the Guru becomes degraded, and such worship conducted by him is also useless. So it is important to first seek permission from one's existing Guru in order to approach Anya Mahat, another great personality for Shiksha. At least one permission should be sought from the Guru. That I am taking Shiksha from this particular personality. Do I have your permission to take Shiksha from this particular person? And if the Guru says yes, then we have permission to take Shiksha from that particular person. And if we hear something, which may contradict the teachings of our Diksha Guru, we can bring it back to the Diksha Guru and confirm with the Diksha Guru that this is the understanding that I got from this particular person. So, dear devotees, this is proper etiquette. Now, this is the case when a particular Guru allows us to go to other devotees to hear from them. There are some cases in which Guru forbids higher association. There are some Gurus who will neither give higher teachings to their disciples and will also forbid the disciples from going to other people. What about such cases? Srila Jiva Goswami says, Yaha prathamam shabde parecha nishnatam ityadi ukta lakshanam gurum nashhritavan. Now, if a disciple has not taken shelter of a Guru expert in Shabda Brahma, which is the scriptures, and Para Brahma and his dedication towards Bhagavan, as recommended in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Srimad Bhagavatam had recommended to take shelter of such a Guru. Tadrisha Guroscha Matsaradito. And on top of that, if due to enviousness, such a Guru does not give permission to serve a Mahabhagavat, then what happens? Anumatim na labhate, he does not give permission. Sa prathamata eva tyakta shastra na vicharyate. Then Shastra, it should be understood that Shastra does not consider the case of such a disciple. Why? It was the disciple who initially gave up the consideration of Shastra when it came to selecting a Guru. It was the disciple who did not consider Shastra while selecting such a Guru. Now the Guru is not allowing him to go to another Vaishnava. Now the disciple will face trouble from both sides. What trouble? If he disobeys his Guru and goes to the Mahabhagavat uttama adhikari, then he will become accused of the aparadh of disobeying the Guru. But if he agrees to his Guru and doesn't serve the uttama adhikari, then there is the fault of non-advancement. He will not be able to advance. On both sides, Sri Jiva Goswami says, Ubhaya Sankata. Both sides there is Sankat. There is trouble for such a disciple. Therefore, dear devotees, in most cases, the Gurus will not have any issue in taking guidance from a personality who is more advanced. But this is in case when a Guru Matsaradito, because of enviousness, the Guru does not give permission. Srila Jiva Goswami then gives further solution. If the Guru is repeatedly envious of other Vaishnavas, then one can, in certain extreme cases, and only in extreme cases, if one knows that the Guru is envious of all other Vaishnavas, and in extreme cases, one can consider giving up on that, such a Guru who does not allow the disciple to associate with higher Vaishnavas. So this, dear devotees, is the case of the Guru who does not allow the disciple. But if the Guru allows, then please select properly. Dear devotees, if the Guru allows us to approach another Vaishnav, such a Vaishnav should be selected very properly. Srila Jiva Goswami says, when we approach another Vaishnav for Shiksha, we are approaching a speaker of Shastra. We have to understand that such people are of two types. And he says, Vakta sarago nirago dvividha parikirtita sarago lolupah kami taduktam hrinna samsprishet. He says there are two types of speakers who impart teachings. This is a separate categorization from Kanishth, Madhyam, Uttam. It's a separate categorization. He says Saraga Vakta, the speaker with material attachments. Raga, Raga means attachment. And Niraga Vakta, the speaker without material attachments. Please be very careful to select a Guru, a Shiksha Guru, in whom there are no material attachments. Take your time to select such a Guru. And please don't be in a hurry. You have been allowed and given permission by your existing Guru to select a Shiksha Guru. Please take your time and select a proper Guru. He says, Sarago Lolupah Kami. The Sarag Bhakta is hankering for material gains. Ultimately, you will see that his ultimate intention is to have material prosperity or material gains. And his heart is full of material desires. Kami. Taduktam hrinna samsprishet. Whatever he speaks will not ultimately touch your heart and will not transform your life ultimately. Therefore, dear devotees, don't select a Sarag Bhakta or a person full of material desires as your new Shiksha Guru. Because you have gotten permission, please make use of that permission wisely. So this is Sri Jiva Goswami's recommendation in the Bhakti Sandarbha. Furthermore, Sri Jiva Goswami says another thing, sometimes somebody has permission to take Shiksha from other sources. What they do is, they start taking Shiksha from anyone and everyone. And therefore, Sri Jiva Goswami says, please don't do this. He says, Upadesham karotyeva na pariksham karoti cha. Aparikshopadishtam yal lokanashaya tad bhavet. There are some, Sarag Bhaktas who give many instructions, but they never test those instructions in their own life. And does not even test the capability of the disciple that they are instructing. And such instructions which are given without proper testing become the cause of destruction of the society. It says, Lokanashaya tad bhavet. It destroys the society, dear devotees. It's very important that when we are approaching a person, we just don't approach a charismatic person who is a flamboyant speaker and who is able to give you many instructions. And then you are mesmerized by, oh my goodness, what a lofty instruction. And then he has not tested out that instruction thoroughly in his own life for a good amount of time. And he doesn't even know our capabilities. So, apariksha upadishtam lokanashaya tad, it will destroy the society. I remember when I was undergoing brahmachari training, this was in 2003, 2004. Once a devotee approached me and said, Prabhu, I'll tell you a secret. I said, what secret? He said, you can chant 64 rounds in 2 hours. So, I was surprised. I said, I thought if I chant 16 rounds nicely, I'm good. He said, no. I'll teach you a secret how to chant 64 rounds in 2 hours. I said, all right, please tell me. So then he showed me his latest MP3 player, which had Srila Prabhupada's japa on it. And the MP3 player had the capability to play it at twice the speed and 4 times the speed. So he played Srila Prabhupada's japa tape on 4 times the speed. And he said, just follow this tape and, do 64 rounds on this particular tape. So I said to him, that's okay, but is it sustainable? So he did not understand what is the meaning of sustainable. He just said, you do it, you will find a lot of benefit. So fortunately, I did not fall into that trap. But he instructed many other people into chanting 64 rounds like this by speeding up Srila Prabhupada's japa tape. After a few months, some of those people left bhakti and the association of devotees. So dear devotees, it is sad that apariksha upadishtam. Sometimes we don't test the instruction in our own lives for a certain amount of time. And yet, lokanashaya tad bhavet. It becomes cause for destruction of the society. This time, when I was visiting the US, one devotee came and asked me, why don't you write a book on the Grihastha ashram? You're traveling with your family. Why don't you write a book on the Grihastha ashram? I said, first I must live through the Grihastha ashram. It's only 10 years till now. First I must live through the Grihastha ashram. I have not yet seen all the aspects of Grihastha ashram. So once I see all the aspects of Grihastha ashram, then I will consider that whether it is suitable to write something about the Grihastha ashram. So many times people come to gurus asking them instruction. The guru has not tested that instruction on themselves and on the disciple. Srila Prabhupada used to speak a story about Gandhiji. And once a lady came to Gandhiji and with her son and told Gandhiji, please tell him not to eat sweets. So Gandhiji said, please come back after 1 week. So she came back after 1 week and she said, please tell my son not to eat sweets. And Gandhiji told the son, you should not eat sweets. It's very bad for your health. The son said, okay, because you are saying I'll not do it. The lady said, you could have said this 1 week earlier. So Gandhiji said, for 1 week, I was myself not eating sweets. Because apariksha upadishtam yat lokanashaya tad bhavet. If you have not tested the instruction on your own self and you're just giving it to others, lokanashaya, it will destroy the life of others. This instruction of chanting 64 rounds, is it feasible? Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, is it feasible, for a lady who is pregnant and has a child of 2 years? Is it feasible for her to do so with all her duties?
No.
Not very easily feasible. Another instruction which I heard when I was undergoing brahmachari training, that, early morning hours, if you don't chant in the early morning hours, it is useless. So, Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, there are some people who are working night shift jobs. And at night shift, they are working, then they sleep at around 4 or 5 o'clock. Is it possible for them to, chant all their rounds in the early morning hours?
No.
No. So, apariksha upadishtam yat. We have not tested the instruction on the society. Therefore, lokanashaya tad bhavet. It will create some disturbance and disruption in the society. So, therefore, please select a very mature person who has tested out the instruction and will give careful instruction, after testing our capability, testing the capability of the disciple. So, this is, how to select a proper guru, a proper shiksha guru. After we have selected a proper shiksha guru or a diksha guru who is uttama adhikari, we should serve them with our heart and soul. But we should know that one particular day that guru will disappear. And when that uttama adhikari guru, whether it is diksha guru or shiksha guru, disappears, then what to do after that? This is another serious question. So Srila Jiva Goswami says, Yathokta lakshanasya guror avidyamanayam tu tasyaiva mahabhagavatasya ekasya nitya sevanam param shreya. Says, if one selected a Mahabhagavat guru, fortunately as per the directions of the Shastra, and when such guru is no longer physically present, then one should know that the highest benefit will come from serving another Mahabhagavat devotee of the Lord. But he says, such a Shri Guruvat Samavasana. But it should be noted that this newly selected Mahabhagavat devotee should be Samavasana, similar in mood to one's original Mahabhagavat Guru, and Kripalu Chittascha, and mercifully disposed towards oneself. Because just as our original Guru, who has disappeared, was similar in mood to us, who was very merciful to us, similarly, this person whom we have selected for service should also be like that. Sometimes a person may be a Mahabhagavat, but they may not be available for us, or we may not be able to develop a relationship with them. So Sri Jiva Goswami says, just because a person is a Mahabhagavat and our Guru is no longer present on this planet, therefore we can't just run to any Mahabhagavat. We have to find a Mahabhagavat who is similar in disposition to our Guru and who is mercifully disposed towards us. Then the relationship will be very nice and joyous. So this, dear devotees, should be understood. So, dear devotees, we have understood the fifth instruction, till now. Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta dikshasti chet pranatibhischa bhajantamisham shushrushaya bhajana vigyamananyamanya nindadi shunya hridamipsita saṅga-labdhyā. One must mentally honor that individual on whose speech faculty the name Krishna exists. If diksha from a guru has manifested and a devotee is actively worshipping the Supreme Lord, then one must honor such a devotee also by paying obeisances. Until now we saw the devotee who has become one-pointed in bhajan and is also an expert in the art of such bhajan should be honored also by inquiries and rendering seva. And finally, we may find that one rare gem of a devotee who fulfills all the above criteria, who is an uttama adhikari, but who is not only an adhikari, an eligible person, but who has also attained the higher stages of devotion. The stages of bhav and prema have been attained by such a person. And anya nindadi shunya hridam, because he has entered into that particular world of Krishna Lila already. Therefore, his heart has become devoid of any botherations of this world. Anya ninda adi, who is a heart devoid of criticism, etc. of others. If we find such a person who has already developed the stages of bhava or prema, not only an uttama adhikari, not only a scriptural knowledge and firm faith, but also by progressing on that path, who has developed bhava and prema towards Bhagavan, whose heart is thinking about Shri Bhagavan always very favorably, who is absorbed in remembrance of the pastimes of Bhagavan, who is absorbed in lovingly chanting Sneha Samyukta Nam, loving chanting of Bhagavan's names, then we should honor such a devotee by giving ourselves entirely to them and gaining their most desirable association. Dear devotees, we have very less to offer to them. What can we offer to them? We can't offer much to them, but we can at least get their association. That is honoring them, dear devotees. To honor them is to gain their most desirable association. Don't let such an association go away in vain. If such a devotee is present, please gain their most desirable sangha. Such a devotee has no desire left for ninda adi. Adi means etc. Nindanam means dosha kirtanam, glorifying the faults of others. But adi, what does etc. mean? So adi is specified by Sri Sanatana Goswami in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. There are 6 things included totally. Ninda is one of them. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, Sri Sanatana Goswami specifies the 6 negative things that should be avoided towards Vaishnavas. Hanti nindati vaidveshti Vaishnavanna abhinandati krudhyate yanti no harsham darshane patanani shat. The 6 transgressions against Vaishnavas, patanani shat, are what? First, hanti. Hanti has 2 meanings: to assault, physically assault, or to kill a Vaishnava. Nindati. This was included in Anya Ninda. Ninda was included in the verse. Nindati. To needlessly critique or gossip about a Vaishnava. Needlessly doing this. Vaidveshti. To envy a Vaishnava in the heart. Vaishnavan na abhinandati. To not properly greet a Vaishnava. Krudhyate. To become angry upon a Vaishnava who is not one's disciple. Yati no harsham. To not exhibit happiness on seeing Vaishnavas. Darshane, on seeing them. Patanani shat. These are 6 transgressions. So his heart is free from these 6, dear devotees. He has no worries about what is going on in the society. Absolutely. He is the society has so many Vaishnavas who have so many faults, and he has not taken the responsibility of cleaning the faults of all those Vaishnavas. He has not taken the responsibility of cleaning the sewers of the Vaishnava society. His heart is absorbed in bhajan and one-pointed bhajan of Bhagavan. And such a person has become so dedicated that other things become oblivious to the society outside. Oblivious to the society outside of him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once pointed out, he was once asked, he once specified that what is the most important, what is the most essential verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu pointed out that Bhagavatar Sar Ei, his own spiritual master, said that there is a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam which is the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. And this verse describes that devotee, who is Anya Nindadi Shunya. And this verse is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 7.94. Evam vratasva priyanama kirtya jatanurago drutachitta uchai hasatyathoditi rauti gayat Tyunmadavanrityati lokavahya. Srila Prabhupada is when a person is actually advanced, not externally showing advancement, when he is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy names of the Lord with sneha, with affection, he is chanting the names of the Lord, who is very dear to him. He is agitated. He loudly chants the name. He also laughs, cries, becomes agitated and chants just like a madman, not caring for outsiders. He's become oblivious to the society. Lokavahya. And therefore, the society doesn't matter to such a person. He does not have an agenda in the Vaishnava society, dear devotees. He has no agenda to drive the Vaishnava society in this direction or that direction. He has become devoid of all social agendas. Lokabahya. And therefore, such a person is Anya Nindadi Shunya Hridam. He has become completely free from the tendency to critique all others. If we find such a Vaishnava ever, dear devotees, you found a diamond. You found a gem. Because simply by coming in contact with this person, we will be able to develop that love towards Bhagavan. Because this person has love for Bhagavan. He has entered, as I said, he has entered into the stage of bhava and prem. And his infectious love of Bhagavan is capable of also affecting us. Therefore, dear devotee, Srila Rupa Goswami has specified this condition. Sri Vyasadeva also says in the Srimad Bhagavatam the same thing. Tribhuvana vibhava hetavepya kuntha smritirajitatma suradibhir vimrigyan na chalati bhagavat padara vindal lavanimishardham api sa vaishnavagrya. Sri Vyasadeva says in 11th canto, the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are sought even by the greatest of gods such as Brahma and Shiva, who have all accepted the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their life and soul. A pure devotee of the Lord can never forget those lotus feet in any circumstance. So the smaran, the remembrance of such a devotee is very, very powerful. He will not give up his remembrance of the lotus feet of the Lord for a single moment, indeed not for half a moment, even in exchange for the benediction of ruling and enjoying the opulence of the entire universe. Such a devotee of the Lord is to be considered the best of Vaishnavas, Vaishnavagrya. So their smaran, their remembrance of the Lord is so impeccable that they have no avakash, they have no time for getting seriously into criticism, etc. of others. If we find such a Vaishnava, please take exclusive shelter of such a uttama adhikari Mahabhagavat Vaishnava, dear devotees. Sri Jiva Goswami uses a term for such a person, Param Guru. This term he uses, Param Guru is the term that he uses. See, we may have a Diksha Guru, we may have a Shiksha Guru. Ultimately, we have to settle upon one personality who is the ultimate guide for us when it comes to attaining the final goal of life. Sri Jiva Goswami uses the term Parama Guru, or the highest Guru that one finally selects in one's mind. That this is the Guru by whose teachings I will finally attain my ultimate goal. Just as in the case of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he had a Diksha Guru, Shri Bipin Bihari Goswami, whom he respected. And his Shiksha Guru, Sri Jagannath Das Babaji, he selected as his Param Guru, as his Guru who will lead him to his ultimate, aim of life. So this is what a Param Guru basically is. Sri Jiva Goswami quotes the Puranas, and in his Bhakti Sandarbhan he says, Kam krodhadi yuktopi kripanopi vishadavan shrutva vikashamayati savakta paramo guru. On hearing such a great personality, even a person filled with lust, anger, miserliness, dejection, etc., they are pulled out of that. They become fully joyous in their bhakti. Their bhakti is revolutionized because of such a person. They come out of these various diseases, lust, anger, miserliness, etc. Savakta, Paramo Guru. Such a speaker, such a Guru is indeed the Param Guru, dear devotees. If we find such a person, please take exclusive shelter at their feet after taking permission from one's Diksha Guru. But if one's Diksha Guru is that person, then absolutely no worries at all. If one's Diksha Guru is of that caliber, then absolutely no worries at all. Then one doesn't have to take any separate permission. One can simply associate with the Diksha Guru, and simply by pleasing the Diksha Guru, one will be able to attain that platform if the Diksha Guru is of such a standard. Anya nindadi shunya hridam. But if one feels genuinely that one needs higher association, then one should approach one's Diksha Guru and take permission from one's Diksha Guru. Dear devotees, it is of paramount importance to take the dust of the lotus feet of such individuals. So, Sri Jiva Goswami understands that such individuals may sometimes not be easily available. So, Sri Jiva Goswami says, Evam bhuta guror abhavad yukti bhed bubutsaya bahunapi ashrayante. He says, in the absence of such a Param Guru, you may not be able to easily find such a person. The absence of such a person, some individual takes shelters of multiple personalities who are learned. Why? Because they want to understand varieties of scriptural explanations. Sri Jiva Goswami says, okay, you can take multiple Shiksha Gurus. No harm in that. This is justified in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.9.31. Nahi ekasmat guror jnanam susthiram syat supushkalam brahmaitad advitiyam vaigiyate bahudharshibhi. Although the absolute truth is one without a second, the sages have described him in many different ways. Therefore, one may not be able to acquire very firm or complete knowledge from one spiritual master. This is in case one does not get that one uttama adhikari Mahabhagavat, who is free from the tendency to critique and free from all social issues. In case one does not get, then one can take multiple Shiksha Gurus. But in case one gets such an uttama adhikari Mahabhagavat Guru who is oblivious to the external society and who is absorbed in the stages of bhava and prem, then you don't need to take shelter of multiple gurus. Then you have one Guru who will guide you till the end of your journey. This, dear devotees, is the sum and substance of the understanding. Jadabharat confirms in the 5th canto that if one gets such an uttama adhikari Mahabhagavat Guru, then take the dust of the feet of that Guru and take a bath, take a shower in the dust of the feet of such a Guru. Dear devotees, he says to Rahugan. See, Jad Bharat himself is that person. Jad Bharat never criticized anybody. And he is speaking to Rahugan. Actually, Jad Bharat is speaking about himself. Jad Bharat may not be intending to speak about himself, but he is speaking about a person who is just like himself. So this is what Jad Bharat is saying to Rahugan. Rahuganaitat tapasana yanti na chejyayanir vapanad grihadva na chandasanaiva jalagri surya urvinamahat pada rajobhishekam. Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, Prabhu, can you kindly read the translation?
My dear King Rahugana, unless one has the opportunity to smear his entire body with the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees, one cannot realize the absolute truth simply by observing celibacy, brahmacharya, strictly following the rules and regulations of householder life, leaving home as a vanaprastha, accepting sannyasa, or undergoing severe penances in winter by keeping oneself submerged in water, or surrounding oneself in summer by fire in the scorching heat of the sun. There are many other processes to understand the absolute truth, but the absolute truth is only revealed to one who has attained the mercy of a great devotee.
Wonderful. So the absolute truth is only revealed to one who has attained the mercy of such a great devotee. Dear devotees, he says, smear the entire body with the dust. What is the meaning of smearing the entire body with the dust? Literally also, you can take the dust from the feet of such a Vaishnava and smear upon yourself. But more importantly, to associate with such a Vaishnava, to serve such a Vaishnava, and to take all the instructions of that Vaishnava and smear upon one's life and change one's life according to the instruction given by such a Vaishnava, is to smear the dust. Basically, dust is the leftover of a particular person. So leftover means the instructions that have been passed on to others. Take them and smear them upon yourself, apply them in your life and follow them, dear devotees. That is sevanam, mahat sevanam, vina mahat pada rajobhishekam. Without smearing ourselves with the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees, it is not possible to understand the absolute truth. So this, dear devotees, is the sum and substance of the fifth instruction. Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta dikshasti chet pranatibhischa bhajantamisham shushrushaya bhajana vigyamananyamanya nindadi shunya hridamipsita saṅga-labdhyā. One must mentally honor that individual on whose speech faculty the name Krishna exists. If diksha from a guru has manifested and a devotee is actively worshipping the Supreme Lord, then one must honor such a devotee also by paying obeisances. The devotee who has become one-pointed in bhajan and is also an expert in the art of such bhajan should be honored also by inquiries and rendering seva. And someone who has a heart devoid of criticism, etc. of others should be honored also by gaining their most desirable saṅga. This, dear devotees, is Śrī-Upadeśāmṛtam. Verse number 5 is successfully completed, but it is our practice to not complete a verse without giving a mirror verse. So, I will now specify a mirror verse for Sri Rupa Goswami. Krishneti yasya giritam manasa bhajami dikshasti yasya natibhischa tamarchayami shushrushanam bhajana tattva vidam karomi nindadi shunya hridamamritim ashrayami. This is a sankalpa verse. I take a sankalpa, I take a vow. Dear Rupa Goswami, I take a vow that I'll offer mental respect to the devotee on whose speech faculty the name Krishna exists. I worship the initiated devotees by offering them obeisances. I render shushrusha, dedicated service to those devotees who are knowers of the tattva of Krishna bhakti. And amritim, I vow till death and beyond death. A means till and beyond. Amritim, till and beyond death. Ashrayami, I take complete shelter of the uttama adhikari Mahāprabhu, whose heart is completely free from criticism, etc. So this verse is offered to Sri Rupa Goswami as a sankalpa verse. Dear devotees, thank you once again very much for kindly joining me. Yadatra skhalitam kinchit vidvam saha purayantu tat. Yadatra saushthavam kinchit tad guroreva me nahi. Yadatra Skhalitam Kinchit. It is possible that I might have made a mistake in speaking Upadeshamritam. Mistakes are a part of conditioned existence. 4 defects are existing within me. But Vidvamsaha, you are all learned. Purayantu tat. Please correct any mistakes. Yadatra Saushthavam Kinchit. But if there's anything nice in the presentation, anything you liked, please know that Tad Guru Reva. I got all of it from my Gurujanas. Therefore, I have to give credit. I cannot be a shameless thief of their teachings. I have to give credit to them. Tad Guru Reva, may nahi. It doesn't belong to me, dear devotees. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dear Hare Prabhu, will you remind me how many classes it took to cover this 5th verse?
Okay, so it specifies 4. Yeah, it took 4 classes.
4.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for a really masterful cover or presentation on this verse that goes over all of the nuances and details, practical application, scriptural references. I'm really blown away. Really grateful to be here. And I'm praying that maybe I can just retain a little bit of it. I feel like a small pot and I'm just being overflowed with nectar from your classes. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. And we're going to go to questions and answers now. And please make your questions about today's topic and leave room for other people because there's usually a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And so with that, we'll go to Jai Dwarka Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danut Pranam Prabhuji.
My pranams.
Once again, thank you so much Prabhuji for such a wonderful session today because I'm very much sure that this must be the confusion of many actually in our organization especially. And you have answered that very authentically and with so many hopes for so many individual who must be having with lots of confusion around and no clear way to go. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for today's session, Prabhuji.
Thank you. My sincere thanks to the previous Acharya. You saw the question answers with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Unless he answers with that clarity and that sharp sword, it will never become clear to many people that they have to take shelter of an uttama adhikari or a Mahabhagavat. Some people are happy in their illusory world. My guru is the best. Even if I am getting a meager teaching, still I will go back home, back to Godhead and achieve the goal. So this misconception has to be, clarified. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur did not mince any words. If I would have spoken those words, it might have been controversial. But when it comes from the previous acharyas, then many devotees' eyes will open. That we have to wake up and search for that devotee who will help us advance on the path of bhajan. So the credit actually goes to them because on my strength, I could have never spoken such words. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yes, you wanted to ask something, Jai Dwarka Prabhu?
I unmuted.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji. Actually, I was not able to.
Yeah.
Yes, Prabhuji. Actually, I wanted to ask Prabhuji this. Actually, what happens in our organization, because ours is a missionary organization. So what happens generally is that an uttama adhikari gives the instruction to a disciple that go and serve in the local temple. And in that case, generally those under whom the devotee is serving may not be that bhajanamritam, and but they are a sincere sadhak practitioner. Then in that case, it becomes very difficult for that devotee because those sincere devotees, those who are senior under whom he has to serve, although they are sincere, everything is there, but they are not that mature enough so that they may allow sufficient freedom to the devotee to go and learn from some other shiksha guru. So in such cases, it becomes very difficult for that disciple, Prabhuji. And I think this is very prominent. And if the disciple goes to the spiritual master and tells the situation, then spiritual master generally they give the solution which is in line with the organizational interest, but may not be actually good for that person advancement of that devotee. So how to adjust this situation, Prabhuji?
So, but
I
you
hope I
said,
have communicated.
yeah, you said the Diksha Guru is Uttam Adhikari. The Diksha Guru is Uttam Adhikari, then might as well go to the Diksha Guru directly.
But he generally don't have time because of so many responsibilities.
So then one should approach the Diksha Guru directly and should tell the Diksha Guru that this is another person whom I wish to approach. And, and I'm not able to find sufficient guidance in these places. Then one should consult with the Diksha Guru directly. And one should specify one's desire to take shiksha from whichever person you want to take shiksha. So when the Diksha Guru approves it, then it will be a good approval. That is the solution, Prabhu.
Okay.
All right.
Okay,
Yes.
next we
Thank you.
have Ishwadeep Roy Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Today's class was really one of my favorite class, and actually, even the conversation of Facilitator Saraswati Prabhupada, and I had many questions during the class, but the next slide of your presentation was that same question. So
Right.
wonderful, wonderful class, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask. I do not have any doubt from today's class, but I just wanted to ask the verse you quoted from 11th canto. What is the chanda of that verse, Prabhuji?
It's the same as Bhishma Stuti, but it has some variations in it. It is called Pushpitagra. It is a variation of Pushpitagra. That is the meter. Chanda is Pushpitagra. Okay, but there
Some
was
variation is
some
there. The name does not change.
actually some verses, the meters are so rare because that, the last line, Yah sa Vaishnavagraha, that Yah is an additional syllable. So it, somehow it's not fitting with the meter Pushpitagra. But more or less, most of the lines are fitting the pattern of Pushpitagra. So that is the meter.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. My pranams.
Next we have Vinod Kovida Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Pārṣada, Prabhu. My
Haripur.
obeisances to you, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
My pranams.
Thank you for the class, and please let me know if I haven't kept up with all of your classes. So I hope this isn't something it's related to this class, but if it was spoken before, just let me know.
Yeah, sure.
My question is around uttama adhikari. The question that came up for me is how to actually identify one, because many of those symptoms that you gave are very internal symptoms that the uttama adhikari is, relishing their love for the Lord. And of course, we can see freedom from criticism, but so that's one thing, is how can one recognize? And also in the sense of similar to what Jayadvaraka Prabhu was mentioning, if there is an uttama adhikari that one has as a guru, but they may have many other responsibilities, so one has limited interaction with them, they may over time begin to lose faith, actually. So I was just wondering if you could address those two things, how to understand the uttama adhikari and also recognize if one actually has faith in them, enough sufficient faith.
Okay, so in the previous talk, I had specified the basic qualification of an uttama adhikari from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Shastre yuktau cha nipunah sarvatha dhrida nischayah. So prauda shraddhodhikari sa bhakta uttamo mata. So there are two criteria. First is Shastra Yuktau cha Nipunah. First, he should be very expert in devotional Shastra and logic pertaining to that devotional Shastra. And Sarvatha Dhrida Nischaya, and should have very firm faith in that Shastra and on the process of Bhakti. Prauda Shraddho, such a person who has firm faith, is Uttam Adhikari. So you can see those things externally. One who is expert in devotional shastra and presenting the conclusions of devotional shastra and has firm faith on the path. You can see the lifestyle of that person, and you can see the mode of presentation of Krishna Bhakti of that person. These things are seen externally. For some time we should test, we should see by hearing that person, by observing that person. Amongst many Uttam Adhikaris, there may be one who is Anya Nindadi Shunya, who has actually achieved the final goal, Bhava and Prema. So that is the distinction between the third and fourth type of devotee. All Uttam Adhikari very glorious. They are progressing to the stage of Bhava and Prema. Very soon they will attain it. But amongst many who are progressing, one has attained. So that is a very rare diamond. If you find such a person, then, who has attained the stage of Bhava and Prema. And I gave that symptoms, the most essential verse of the Bhagavatam I quoted, Evam Vrataha, Hasatyatho Roditi Rauti Gayati. Not only is expert in devotional shastra and conclusions, but is exhibiting the symptoms of Bhava and Prema. And is not pretending to do so. And that person actually is the person who is, that whom one can take complete shelter of. But in general, if you find an Uttam Adhikari, that is also very rare. And if such an Uttam Adhikari is willing to give guidance, and a guidance does not mean, every morning we wake up, we call them and say, what do I do today? Not that sort of guidance. Guidance in devotional shastra. So we do our swadhyay, we do our reading of devotional shastra daily, we do our due diligence. And wherever we are confused, we need guidance, we approach them, they guide us, and we also hear regularly from them. So when such guidance is available directly from an Uttam Adhikari, and if for our personal situations in life they are willing to guide us, then we have found such an Uttam Adhikari. Because some people think guidance from Uttam Adhikari means that Uttam Adhikari should become fully dedicated to me. And then the Uttam Adhikari will not have time for anybody else. So the thing is, what should you expect from an Uttam Adhikari? First, you should be able to have access to their teachings. Secondly, they should be able to spare some time for personal doubt resolution of yours. Thirdly, they should give you tailor-made and unconventional solutions. Those things you can expect from an Uttam Adhikari. If you are able to find such things in an Uttam Adhikari, you have found personal guidance. If you're not able to find such things even from an Uttam Adhikari, then you may have to approach some other person who's an Uttam Adhikari and who may be able to guide you. That is the answer to your query.
Mhm.
Right?
Yes, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Prabhu.
Thank you.
Next we have Radhika Vallabha Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Shri, for such a comprehensive class on this Nectar of Instruction verse. I have a question on this. You spoke about this Saraga Vakta, Niraga Vakta,
Right.
the speaker with and without material attachments. Like, there was one devotee who approached one famous speaker that can you give Bhagavata Saptah for this particular people, families asking for Bhagavata Saptah? Can you give a Bhagavata Saptah because you are a very good speaker? So that devotee said that only those who give certain number of lakhs as a donation to the institution, I give Bhagavata Saptah, like that he told. So I don't want to stamp as a Saraga Vakta. Like, it's not that he's wanting money for himself, but at the same time, when people put such condition, only those people who give certain Lakshmi as a donation to the institution, I give Bhagavata Saptah. How do we actually see this? Niraga Vakta, Saraga Vakta, or something in between, or how do we see that?
See, there are two things. First is, when we want to invite a devotee for speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, and not for one day, for maybe 6 or 7 days. So we are performing what is known as a Bhagavata Yajna. Basically, it is known as a Yajna. The rishis in Naimisharanya were also performing another Yajna, and they switched from that Yajna to Bhagavata Yajna. So they switched to hearing Yajna, Katha Shravan Yajna. So when such a Yajna is performed, in both yagyas there should be dakshina. Dakshina means there should be a principle of reciprocation. Because Bhagavan Shri Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that if we, sometimes some people, they just say, will you speak Bhagavatam for us 7 days? And after the speaker speaks for 7 days, and they don't give anything to the speaker as reciprocation. And then if the speaker says something, oh, there was no reciprocation, then they will say, oh, this means you had material desires. So this means those people are crooked who are inviting them. So they should understand that what is the principle in Bhagavad Gita. The principle given in Bhagavad Gita 17.13 is Vidhihinam asrishtannam mantrahinam adakshinam shraddha virahitam yagyam tamasam parichakshate. Adakshinam, a yagyam which is adakshinam, a yagya in which no dakshina was given. Tamasam, it immediately goes into the mode of ignorance. So at some point of time in any yagya, there should be charity. See here, it is mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. Remuneration to the priests is an essential function. And if it is not, then it is considered to be in the mode of ignorance, if one does not give remuneration to the priests. So many times I have seen, especially in India, I have seen some people just want to organize a Bhagavata Saptah, but don't want to give anything. The flip side of that is people start demanding money. That is what happens. There is a reason why some people demand money, is because they know for 7 days they are going to be engaged, and there is a risk that the person in front of them will not give anything. So some people upfront say that I will only do so because I am a householder and I need money, and therefore such situations are best avoided. If the organizer and the speaker have confidence in each other, the speaker has confidence that the organizer will give dakshina, and the organizer has confidence that the speaker is not expecting a fixed amount, but I will give nicely. That is the most ideal arrangement. So it is best to find such an arrangement, because these arrangements, they are very embarrassing arrangements. They are embarrassing on the part of the speaker and on the part of the organizer. So ideally, in my own case, I can speak only for myself. I try not to get into any such arrangement. When somebody says, will you come and speak Bhagavatam for 1 week? So I usually say, I'll definitely think about it. I don't immediately say, because it's a 7 day, 7 days is a very big endeavor. Even, to speak for 7 days continuously, to prepare a lot. And I don't speak without preparation. So speaking obviously is going to take a lot of preparation. And if I don't have confidence in that person, I would rather say, well, I'll think about it, but I'll not follow up on it. So basically, only when I trust a certain person, I will get into saying yes. If I don't trust a person, then I'll not get into, better not to get into such an arrangement in the first place. So sometimes a no saves a lot of trouble. That is, my answer. So, but if there is a certain person who, who does not have faith on anyone and charges anyone and everyone, and the only purpose of their katha is to make money, so then that person, you should understand, that person is falling in the category of sarag. But it's not simply black and white. There are shades of gray here also. There are some people who don't want to reciprocate at all for a katha. So for such people, some people have to ask for some money, whether you'll give something or not. So it's not all black and white. There are shades of gray. But Sri Jiva Goswami has spoken about that particular person whose aim of life is to clearly have material facilities out of the art of speaking Krishna Katha. If you certainly know this person is such a person, then that person is a Sarag Bhakta. That is I hope that clarifies the question. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Next we have Sachindra Krishna Prabhu.
Oh, wonderful. Hari Bol, Sachindra Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Prabhu. It's so wonderful to see you. This is, I think, my second class. I was attending last time. Last time you gave it, I was actually in the hospital, so I couldn't fully listen to it, but I did this time. So thank you so much. This timing is excellent also.
Thank you.
I had a few questions, but I'll limit it to one. this may be a simple question, but it's talking about the 6 transgressions against Vaishnavas. And, a lot of times we see, one of them you said is not to exhibit happiness upon seeing Vaishnavas. But sometimes you see that, your interactions with Vaishnavas is on many different levels. And if you see someone who's envious, you try to avoid them. But if they come in and you see them, you're obviously not going to feel happiness or joy in your heart upon seeing someone who is either criticizing other devotees or is even envious. Is that an offense then when you see that person?
Okay. So when that sixth transgression is yati no harsham darshane, that to not become happy upon seeing a Vaishnava, it's basically, the implication is to turn away one's face or to show an expression of disgust on seeing a Vaishnava. Like, for example, Dhāmeśvara Prabhu, can you say, please, you and me are meeting, Dhāmeśvara Prabhu, please say, please, how will you interact with me when you see me? What will you say to me?
Say, my dear Hari Pārṣada Prabhu, it's so wonderful to see you. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Yeah, that's okay. So this is yati no harsham. All right. So this is not being happy, to show a face of disgust on seeing a Vaishnava. So this is what is implied by that. So Sachindra Krishna Prabhu, I hope that answers your query. The minimum that one can do with a Vaishnava whom one does not have affection for, minimum is at least to have a neutral expression and to just, bow one's head and move ahead. That's it. This is minimum that is one is expected to do. All right. That clarifies the query. Okay.
Next we have Bhavya Bhagavan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Shri Prabhupada and you. And thank you for your profound class, Prabhu. Prabhuji, I have this question regarding cakṣu-dāna diloye janme janme Prabhu say. So janme janme Prabhu say is in context to like Siksha Guru, Param Guru, Diksha Guru. That is one thing. Another thing is if it's in respect to the Diksha Guru, so is it the same Diksha Guru who comes to reclaim if the disciple is not able to go back to Godhead, or how is it, Prabhu?
All right.
Hare Krishna.
So cakṣu-dāna dilo yai janme janme Prabhu sei. Yai and sei are related. So yai cakṣu-dāna dilo, one who gave, one who illuminated my eyes. Now who illuminates one's eyes? Ajnana timirandhasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. One who illuminates the eyes with the shalaka, by piercing the eye with the needle and applying the ointment of divine knowledge. So previously, Ayurvedic ophthalmologists, they would take a shalaka, it's a small piercing instrument, and they would pierce the eye of a person who has night blindness. Timirandha, night blindness. So somebody who has night blindness, you pierce their eye using a shalaka, and that shalaka has some medicine applied on it, and that medicine is applied inside. And once that night blindness is cured by anjana, jnana anjana, by applying the medicine of knowledge. So basically it refers to the Guru who has given not only diksha, but also most importantly, the Guru who has given instructions in bhajan. I had specified last time Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's introduction to Kalyan Kalpataru, where he compared the Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru. And he specified that the Shiksha Guru has much more importance in his life because they are giving the essence of devotional service. Anyways, it is very clear in our parampara that our parampara is a Shiksha parampara. If you see the Bhagavad Gita as it is Guru parampara, it is very clearly mentioned that the Guru parampara is a Shiksha parampara. It's not a Diksha parampara. So when it is very clear that the parampara itself is emphasizing on Shiksha, and cakṣu-dāna is basically an act of illuminating the eyes with Shiksha, that particular person is Janme Janme Prabhu Sai. So for Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the master birth after birth is Sri Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. And for others, their Diksha Guru may be their Shiksha Guru. So that Guru who is giving Shiksha of Bhajan, that Param Guru is the personality. And if the disciple is not claimed in one life, then the Guru may send another representative who is similar in mood and disposition in the disciple in another life. Because the Guru has, the Guru may not be in the same place. The Guru may have gone to another place and the disciple may be in another place. So the Samashti Guru Tattva, Shri Nityanand Prabhu, the Guru in principle, Shri Nityanand Prabhu, arranges for a Guru, for an individual Guru who is similar in mood and disposition. So that is the answer to the query. Hare Krishna.
One note, I unmute people for a question and somehow they become muted sometime after that. I'm not muting people afterwards, but I think that there's a countdown on the top of your screen that'll say, if you've been quiet for so long, you're going to be automatically muted. I'll look out for that, but if somehow you're muted in the middle of your question, need to ask more, you can raise your hand again, or we'll try to figure it out. So next we have Tanvi D.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for the class. So is it okay if I ask 2 questions?
So you can ask one
Yes.
question and then you can be on the round robin list. And once we go, it's in computer, it's called round robin. So once we go through cycle through all, then you can come back for the second. I hope that's okay.
Okay.
Right.
Yes, Prabhuji. So you told about the symptoms of the uttama adhikari and all. So that was very good. But Prabhuji, with all these imperfect senses and dosha drishti, how can we perceive that the devotee in front is really an uttama adhikari or not? Because maybe we can see some symptoms, maybe we cannot, because we are not with him 24 hours, or even our Diksha Guru, we are not with him always. So how can we perceive that he is on that level?
So this question was asked previously also, that how can we perceive such a person? So basically it is not possible for us to perceive such a person. It is Krishna who sends such a person. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had answered this query in one of his question and answers. I will point it out to you. I showed it last time also, I think. The question asked was, how will I be able to recognize someone as a bona fide spiritual master? He says, when you make judgments based on your own intelligence, that such and such person is Guru. Basically, you are in fact projecting the qualities of Guru on him. Such a person is never truly the Guru. In such cases, you are thinking that the Guru is somehow under your control or within the purview of your sensory knowledge. When Krishna himself decides to send you someone to act as your spiritual master, that person will be manifest before you as the Mahanta, or basically as your Param Guru. So basically, you will come to know, because of experiencing a revolution in your spiritual life and because of seeing the symptoms of Uttama Adhikari in such a person, that this is the person whom Krishna sent for me. So it is not as per our judgment that we judge somebody. We check a person who may be an eligible candidate, but finally it is Krishna who sends such a Guru. So finally it is we who should pray to Bhagavan to send such a person in our lives. I hope that answers your query.
Yes, Prabhuji. But Prabhuji, just one thing that we can even imagine, like from our own bewilderment, we can imagine, yes, this is the person. But what if that person is not right? Like it may be our own imagination also, right?
Yeah, therefore Shastra has given qualifications to check whether our imagination is living up to the standard. The Shastra qualification is that he should be Uttam Adhikari, Shastra Yuktau cha Nipuna Sarvatha Drida Nishchaya. In the previous lecture, I gave those qualifications. At the minimum thing is that they should be an Uttam Adhikari. That is what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur also said, as I specified today. Srila Prabhupada also says. These things can be verified to a certain degree. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says we need to use our cognitional abilities in order to do this. He said in the talk, I had specified this. There are some things which can be verified, whether the person is an Uttam Adhikari or not, and whether they are able to give specific solutions based on Shastra or not. So these are very good quality, they are characteristics which can be verified. And on top of that, if Bhagwan has decided to send somebody, then within the heart, Bhagwan will give a very good indication that this is the person. Now you will say, how do I know if it is Bhagwan who is giving the, if Bhagwan wants to give an indication, you will know that this was Bhagwan's indication. Bhagwan will make sure that you will know that it is his indication. Those who have gotten a guru by Bhagwan's arrangement, they know that it was Bhagwan who arranged the guru for me. They need not be, they don't have doubts about Bhagwan's arrangement. They know Bhagwan had arranged the guru for me. So this question does not arise in their case. So I hope that answers your query.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next, I have a question, Prabhuji. I have my hand raised, but it went down.
Okay.
Whenever I hear that verse, hunting in Nanti Dvashti, Vaishnavan Abhinanadi, something I've always wondered is, when it comes to Vaishnava Aparad, what determines that? Like the standards of what counts as Vaishnava Aparad, is that objective or subjective? Like, in other words, is it that if I do any of the things on that list, it's Vaishnava Aparad, or is it if the devotee, him or herself, feels offended?
See, there are some individuals who are devotees and who may take offense on anything and everything you do. So let's say I am not favorably disposed towards you, let's say, and you end up saying something in a class which had nothing to do with me, but I take it personally and I say, why did you say that? I am offended. So that is not what constitutes Vaishnava. Vaishnava Aparad is when your intention was to clearly harm the other person. When your intention was to clearly damage the reputation of the other person. So that is, at least that is what is in your control. Because unintentional Vaishnava Aparad is not within your control. There are certain instances in which unintentionally we may end up offending a Vaishnava. Those are things which are not in our control. But there are remedies for that. And I will discuss those remedies when we come to the next verse, because the next verse is about the faults of the Vaishnavas. So I will come to that about unintentional offenses. But the main thing is intentionally one should not do it. So that is the sum and substance of that verse. So I hope that clarifies. All right.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Your volition should be absent. At least you ensure from your side. Your volition should be absent. That is what is right.
So it's in your control whether you commit an offense or not.
Yeah.
Next we have Loka Prabhu and Vidarbha Mataji.
Okay. Lokadhyaksh Prabhu and Vidarbha Sutta Mataji. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
They're unmuted. You can speak now.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu and Mataji. My pranam.
Dhanyavad pranam Prabhu. Thank you for such a nectarian class again. My question was about, like you mentioned, that how one should accept an uttama adhikari as a guru. So in our organization, the guru is decided by the organization, like who is eligible to initiate or give diksha. So does it mean that all the gurus that are approved by our organization, they are uttama adhikaris? Or can we consider that, or how should we? Yeah.
Okay. So the organization only approves a person who has passed a certain criteria. The organization does not give any guarantee that this particular person is Uttam Adhikari or Kanishth Adhikari or Madhyam Adhikari. The organization does not even give the guarantee whether a particular person will be able to maintain the post of guru throughout their life. Organizations, in essence, cannot give such guarantees. The organization will not even give a guarantee that on taking initiation from such and such person, you will definitely attain the goal of life. The organization does not give any such guarantees. And if a guru falls into trouble, or if a guru goes away from the science of Vaishnavism, the path of Vaishnavism, the organization will say, well, please don't ask us. We tried our best to ensure the standards, but this person did not follow the standards and went away. So please don't blame us. So the organization does not give a certificate of Uttam, Madhyam or Kanishth to anybody. It is the disciple who has to select and approach a particular guru based on the qualities that can be externally judged. Some qualities cannot be externally judged. For that, the disciple has to depend upon Bhagavan and Bhagavan's mercy. If Bhagavan is merciful and the external characteristics are fitting, then the disciple has approached a bona fide guru. So that is what it is. Therefore, in the previous talk, I had quoted Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He said, if a particular person is fortunate, then they will be able to approach such a person. So a good fortune is also required in many cases, plus external judgment of some factors, such as whatever factors were mentioned by Sri Rupa Goswami for uttama adhikari, that is also required. But the organization will never give any certificate of uttam, madhyam or kanishth to anybody. So that is the answer to your query.
Could I?
So like when the organization is checking, the criteria for uttama adhikari is already given in the Shastra. So why doesn't the organization check for those qualifications, and why is it left to the person to decide?
Because the founder Acharya of the organization has said that a neophyte Vaishnava or a Vaishnava on the intermediate platform can also accept disciples. The founder of the institution has said in the purport that they can also accept disciples. I showed the purport today. If the founder would have said that they should never accept disciples, then the institution could have barred them. But the founder himself has said that they can also accept disciples, but it is up to the disciple to check. If, so Srila Prabhupada is allowing every Vaishnava, because in some places, a Kanishth adhikari may want to become guru. So the institution gives facility. That is, you can't stop somebody. So the institution is giving facility to anyone and everyone who fits the bare minimum criteria. But it's up to the disciple to check. That is the answer.
Does it also, Prabhu, just in continuation of that same discussion, does it also change because Srila Prabhupada is our preeminent Siksha Guru and he is a Mahabhagavad pure Uttama Adhikari devotee? So does that also play a role in our own progress?
By following his Siksha.
By following his Siksha.
Yeah, in the previous talk, I had discussed about taking Shiksha from books. And there was a big discussion about taking Shiksha. We need a Shiksha from books is from all the Acharyas are present in their books and teachings. But we need Shiksha that we can extract somebody who is personally present for us, somebody who can give us tailor-made solutions, somebody who can give us unconventional solutions. And the previous talk was entirely about that. Okay. So the previous talk, I very specifically spoke about what is, although Acharyas are present in their books, all Acharyas are present. Why only Srila Prabhupada? Is Srila Jiva Goswami not present in his books? Srila Jiva Goswami is, I can make that statement. Srila Jiva Goswami is not different from his teachings. It's so easy to make flamboyant statements like those, and emotionally charged statements. But the thing is, Srila Jiva Goswami would not appreciate that somebody would take his teachings without the guidance of a Mahabhagavat in person. Srila Jiva Goswami would not appreciate that. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada's also quote I showed last time. You cannot become a medicine man. He was speaking about medicine man simply by reading books of medicinal science. You have to approach an existing doctor, get trained under them, make a mistake and get corrected by an existing doctor. Then you can become perfected in that science. So it's not simply that, now we have the books, so there is no need for finding another person. There's always the need of finding a person who can guide us. Doubt solving is a living process. I specified last time. Doubt solving is a living process. That process cannot be substituted by books. So that is the answer to your query, Mataji. Thank you.
Next we have Shriyan.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam. Thank you for the wonderful class. My question is about, I think it's almost similar lines with what the previous Prabhu and Mataji asked. It's about, someone you listen online, like not directly, but, you like to listen to their class daily for your Shravanam.
and you really like how beautifully they say Krishna Katha and the Shastras, and in a way you are really able to connect. So,
Sorry to
and they are
interrupt.
also
Prabhuji, are you able
Bhagavad.
to understand? It's not very clear.
Yeah, the thing is, I think he's saying that if you are able to, if you like somebody's lectures, you hear them every day. Shriyan, can you speak little more clearly?
Sure, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Sorry. So should I repeat again? See my
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you're
Okay.
audible.
So it's like, yeah, exactly as you said, you listen to online and you daily listen to them for your Shravanam, and the way say they Kadha, you really can connect with it, and they are also Mahabhagavad devotee. So can you consider such a person as your Shiksha Guru? Like, do you need their consent? Because that person has no idea that, you are listening to him or something. So do you need a consent of a person to make him your Shiksha Guru?
Okay. So do you need somebody's consent to, make you their, Shiksha Guru or something? You are hearing them, daily. See, the thing is, I had specified this previously, that when we hear from a person who is giving a lecture to hundreds of people, that is okay, but such a person is known as a platform speaker. Right now, I am speaking to almost 40-50 people. I am speaking on a platform right now. So this is what is called as platform speaking. And platform speaking is good, but there is something we should know about platform speaking. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I had specified this previously. There was a question asked to him, how should we preach to ordinary people? So he said, this is by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, human beings carry a variety of diseases and each needs to be treated individually. Unless a disease is properly diagnosed, proper treatment cannot be administered and the ailment will not be cured. A platform speaker cannot do much for most sick people. He can only give token relief. So this is what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says. Then another question is asked, can one do more for people by giving them personal instruction? He says, one who gives personal instruction to each and everyone does more for other than the platform speakers do. Generally, whatever platform speakers say cannot solve the problems of everyone in the audience, nor can it always benefit every individual. A person's defects are better rectified in a private tutorial class or private coaching than in hearing lectures in a school or college. Therefore, those who instruct particular persons separately can award them something more permanent. Therefore, what you are speaking of here is he listening to a platform speaker, and the platform speaker's speech is like giving paracetamol, painkiller for everybody. So everybody feels relief for some time once they are hearing the lecture, but everybody's disease is different. So giving painkillers to everybody is good, but it only suppresses the pain for some time. After some time, our actual problems have not gone away. When do our actual problems come to surface? When we are alone. Many of our problems come to surface when we are alone, not in a big society or a big gathering. When we are alone, we are whom we are. And that is when our actual mindset starts manifesting. And that is, when a person who can be a devotee in that situation is actually, a devotee. So we need help for that particular situation when we are ourselves, when we are truly ourselves. And that we cannot easily get from a platform speaker. For that, we need personalized individual guidance. So general guidance we can get from a platform speaker and what they are speaking in a class, and they may quote some nice verses, and this is all good. But for the in-depth problems of our lives, for solving those problems, for rooting out our individual diseases, we need personalized guidance from a person who can diagnose and give a proper solution. That is the answer to your query.
Sure, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So in that case, like if you don't have anybody accessible like that, you should stay and pray for Krishna's mercy
Wonderful.
until Krishna sends someone to you.
Wonderful. That is
Thank
the
you.
process. That is the process. To pray for Krishna's mercy
Thank-
to send such a person. That is, Krishna will soon arrange for such a person. When Krishna knows that we have the proper attitude, he will very soon arrange for such a person. All right.
Thank you so much. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Next we have Paramakaruna Prabhu, but before we go to your question, I have to leave in 5 minutes. Prabhuji, would you be able to take over the Q&A?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, we'll go to you next.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji,
Thank you.
for yet another absolutely wonderful class full of learnings. And I will listen to the last two classes, today's and last time's, once again for this question. But while I have the opportunity to ask you, I just wanted to see if you have some additional thoughts on the question. Is we have like for bhajanavidyam shushrushaya should be done, and for nindadi shunya hridam saṅga-labdhyā. So the subtle difference between these two instructions by Srila Rupa Goswami, because Shushrushaya is also to a certain extent saṅga-labdhyā, or we are getting some association from them. And this is assuming that the Nindadi Shunya Hridam devotee is doing some speaking. So we are getting the Sangha through their speaking. They are not just doing their personal bhajan. In this question, it is, let's assume he is doing speaking. Could you please say something more? And maybe you've already covered it, but how to do saṅga-labdhyā, which is more or different than Shushrushaya?
Okay. So, as I said, Anya Nindadi, it's actually Anya Nindadi Shunya Hridam.
Sure.
So, Anya Nindadi Shunya Hridam is free from the fault to criticize, etc., of anybody else. So, basically, such a person is so absorbed in his own bhajan that he is oblivious to the external society. Now, such a person, we can't give much to them, because they don't need much from the society. They are self-satisfied in their bhajan. So what can we give them? What facility can we give them? If we give them something, some material facility, they need bare minimum for their sustenance, and they may probably already have enough of it. And they have attained a stage where they do not need much material facilities. And so what can we do basically for them? So basically the only seva we can do is, it is called Prasanga Rupa Seva in Bhakti Sandarbha. It's called Prasanga Rupa Seva. And there are two types of seva, Prasanga Rupa and Paricharya Rupa. Prasanga Rupa Seva is service through associating with them. And that association has to be snigdha, very affectionate and close association with them, where we please them by our mood, our disposition, by our willingness to listen to them, by our willingness to serve them. And they know that this person is an ideal candidate for receiving instructions because he's like-minded, and they give their association. So we render service to them simply by, taking association from them and learning from them, because this in itself is a very big service, because they are training you to be the next basically person who will be like them. You are going to get that particular level of advancement. So that in itself is considered as a service to them. But for somebody who is an uttama adhikari in general, basically, uttama adhikari means they have shastra and yukti, and they have dhrida nishchay, they are firm faith. And you can render service to them. They have some, necessities of life. You can try to fulfill those necessities of life that they have. They need some seva, you can get that seva done. All those things you can do for them. So that subtle difference is there. But that, 1 point antaranga association, internal association, that is for that uttama adhikari Mahabhagavat who is free from the tendency to critique others and who has developed that higher stages of bhava and prema. So that is what it is. So thank you. All right. I hope that clarifies.
Yes, Prabhuji. I'll need to listen to it again and internalize that. But
Right,
thank you
right.
so much.
Thank you.
This is
Thank you.
all drinking from a fire hose.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So,
Brahmacharya
Dāmeśvara,
Prabhu.
Dāmeśvara
Yes.
Prabhu, so should we let you go now? It's difficult to let you
Yeah,
go.
I'm gonna keep the meeting on because I'm the host, and if I end it, I think it ends for everyone.
Okay.
But I'm gonna just pass the torch to Paramakaruna Prabhu.
All right. Wonderful, Prabhu. Thank
Are
you.
you gonna make me co-host, or will
You're already co-host, Prabhu.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Dāmeśvara
Dāmeśvara Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Next, we have Sachindra Krishna Prabhu again.
Can we do one thing? Can we cycle through those who have not yet gotten an opportunity,
Sure.
and then come to
Yeah.
Sachindra Krishna Prabhu? Yeah.
Okay. Bhagavati Vasudha Mataji.
Yeah.
I have said ask to unmute.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavas Pranam. Thank you.
My
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for this series of lectures. It's really very helpful. And main thing is, like, for one question, we might have so many answers, but we didn't know why. But through your series of lectures, we are getting to know that different answers are for different sub questions. So thank you so much. And Prabhuji, we surrender almost to a Shiksha Guru, and that's why we are following whatever they say. But in a situation like when we are in some local temple, our Shiksha Guru might be in some other temple. In local temple, you will have to serve with some devotees. You might not see anyone to the level of your Shiksha Guru. So how to follow the instruction, how to help the temple in the service, how to cooperate with them.
All right. Therefore, the facility is to accept multiple Shiksha Gurus. I hope that the Shiksha Guru whom you accepted in the temple was not imposed, and that the Shiksha Guru was accepted by choice, because Shiksha Gurus are accepted by choice. So whomsoever we accept as Shiksha Guru has to be accepted by choice, not by imposition. So there is no system of imposing a Shiksha Guru upon others in Shastra. So a Shiksha Guru has to be accepted by choice. One may have multiple Shiksha Gurus, but amongst all of one Shiksha Guru and Diksha Guru, there is one Guru whom Sri Jiva Goswami calls Param Guru, basically. That Guru who plays the most significant role in one's life. You need not even reveal whom that Guru is to anybody, but that Guru's instruction should be followed with one's heart and soul. That is the answer to your query.
Yes, Prabhu. So is that my understanding that it is better to have one Shiksha Guru in the local temple so that it will be easier? You mean that, or it is not required? Just for the seva purpose, you can just cooperate and.
I'm not understanding what system this is. Does the temple require you to have a Shiksha Guru?
Like, because they ask no, or you is it required to be monitored every devotee in an organization, that you should be reporting to someone or something? Because I don't see, like, even if some devotees are very senior also, we don't know to whom they are reporting, how to surrender.
Okay, so the organization, I think you're speaking of ISKCON.
Yes.
There is no such rule that every devotee has to be monitored. At least till now, there is no such rule that everybody has to be monitored. There may be a rule on the temple level, and if there is such a rule on the temple level, and if the temple is imposing a Shiksha Guru or something like that, then I can't say about that situation, because that's a very individual situation. But one of that one particular Shiksha Guru who is of utmost importance in our bhajan is to be considered as the Param Guru, and that Param Guru's instructions are the ones that one should take to one's heart. That is what is the clear indication of all the acharyas.
Okay, this
Thank
makes very much clear. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And there is one small thing, like we also hear that always go with the local temple so that you can serve there and accept that local temple authorities things. So if this instruction is also there, so how much importance we should give to this?
See, in an institution, we must cooperate with the institution. If we are members of an institution, we must cooperate because there are many people gathering together to serve Bhagavan. So cooperation within an institution is expected. And there are some times in our lives when we must give some priority to cooperation within an institution. But ultimately, at one point of time, one has to decide, how one's progress will be ensured. So both things are important, but if they happen to be in conflict with each other, the devotee has to make a call as to what they want to do. Right?
Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hare
Alex.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Next, we have Manjari Mataji.
Oh, wonderful. Hare
Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. My
Thank you
prana. I hope it's not a difficult query.
No, Hare Krishna. It's
No.
such an honor to be here again, and thank you so much for taking up this extraordinary series, continuing and always collecting these amazing sections from Shastra. They're so relevant and so nourishing. It's truly wonderful. My question is about, we see when Srila Prabhupada was spreading the Krishna consciousness movement, he had this sense of urgency.
Right.
And he empowered very young devotees. They just joined, read a book, go and open a center.
Right.
And we need many gurus to spread Krishna consciousness. And I'm just wondering how that can be connected to the need of just, having uttama adhikari gurus because they can give the best and the highest.
Right.
And connected to this, when as devotees advance and become more and more mature, and of course I don't want to go where they come from, if it's a sadhaka coming up to the level of an uttama adhikari, or they've come from the spiritual world, I don't want to go to there, but they have, as years go ahead, they have so many disciples, it's hard to have access. So sometimes I hear people say that, okay, I just joined now, and if I have a devotee who's been here for 30 years, he may not be the most, he may not be an uttama adhikari yet, but he can offer me so much to where I am right now. Like in a university, like a first grade student can be taught by a third grade student. Maybe it's not the professor, but there's so much to learn. Could you share your thoughts on this?
Yeah. So when Srila Prabhupada started the movement, there were Vaishnavas who were they had read a few books and they were told, go and open centers. Now, obviously, this is not the usual situation of Vaishnavism. This is when a movement is beginning. So as a movement progresses and solidifies its structure and its existence, the same is not expected, because the initial instruction is being given, and Srila Prabhupada also knows that apariksha, these devotees have not applied these teachings in their own lives, yet they are being told to instruct others. Now, Srila Jiva Goswami had quoted that verse that one who instructs others without testing it himself will eventually cause destruction. Eventually, there will be destruction. But initially, this may work. For a few years or a few decades, this may work. But if the same model continues after many decades, obviously that verse is going to have its effect. That people instructing others without testing it upon themselves. And if they continue to do that over many decades, obviously it will lead to some sort of disruption within the society. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada later started saying that, making statements such as, we have to boil the milk, we don't want so many Vaishnavas, and better to have a few. What is the use of so many stars? One moon is good enough. Statements like these were made by Srila Prabhupada later, and these statements are recorded. You might have heard those statements that, we want to boil the milk, etc. So it is evident from such statements that Srila Prabhupada also wanted a paradigm shift within the attitude towards prachar in the movement as the movement progressed. It is logical, it is expected, and it is what Srila Prabhupada wanted also. So what we need is, when a devotee arrives newly in the movement, we need individuals who may act as patha pradarshaka, who may not call themselves as guru, who may say that we are just, very quickly guiding you towards, move ahead. We are the ones who are doing this seva. So they are the patha pradarshakas who are needed within the movement. Therefore, I'll be very happy if the movement institutionalizes a designation called patha pradarshaka, or somebody who shows the path. This can be institutionalized within the society, that devotees who take up the responsibility of being patha pradarshaka, that that is, they are guiding the new devotees. Now they don't take on the responsibility of being serious shiksha or bhajan gurus, because they know they have their own limitations. So these patha pradarshakas, they are also progressing gradually. Gradually, when they progress, they can become eligible to be somebody shiksha or bhajan gurus. But until they have progressed to that point, they should rather call themselves patha pradarshakas, or somebody who is illuminating the path for the newcomer. That's all. So in this way, there will be no disruption of the society. The newcomer, after spending 10 or 12 years, will understand the value of gaining uttama adhikari's association. And by that time, they may have taken initiation from a Madhyam adhikari or uttama adhikari. But the uttama adhikari, they will try to find guidance from that uttama adhikari, whom they can have access to. Now, those devotees who have advanced, and they may have many disciples. Now they know if they are advanced and they have many disciples, so they know that they cannot do justice to all the disciples. So they will allow the disciples to take guidance from some other person who is like-minded to them. They should allow. At least they should give that freedom. At either you give guidance or you allow disciples to take guidance from. Don't starve the poor disciple, because that disciple is expecting guidance from somebody. Either if you don't want to allow somebody else, then at least you give the guidance. And if you can't give guidance, then at least allow them. So at least they'll be broad-minded enough. An uttama adhikari is expected to be broad-minded enough to allow the disciple to take guidance from some other person. It's very important, and in the next generation of our movement, it's very important to highlight the importance of shiksha. The shiksha guru is playing a paramount role in the life of a devotee. But unfortunately, the shiksha gurus are, they are not sometimes given the due credit that they should be given. And often the diksha guru, who has done very little after the initiation of the disciple, is given majority of the credit for the advancement of the disciple, although he has given very little personalized teaching to the disciple. So it is high time, and it's knocking on our doors. The day is knocking on our doors when the importance of the shiksha guru will have to be sooner or later recognized within the movement. So that is my answer to your query. I hope that satisfies the query.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Next we have Ananga Mohan Prabhu. Please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you very much for such a wonderful presentation on the most crucial topic. My queries, Prabhuji, sometimes it is seen and that in an organization, the person has taken initiation from some devotee who is in a good standing and is serving the institution. And then without the consent of that Diksha Guru, he has left the organization and taken the shelter of some advanced devotee within some other sampradaya. So what Shastra speaks about it, what will be the fate of that devotee or the person who has given shelter to that devotee?
So this was spoken today itself in the talk. Srila Jiva Goswami specified, Shri Guru Agyaya tat sevana virodhena chanyesham api vaishnavanam sevanam shreyah anyatha doshah syat. It's so clear that Shri Guru Agyaya, with the permission of one's Guru, tat sevana avirodhena. So its service should not be hampered. Anya vaishnavanam sevanam shreyah. It's justified to serve other Vaishnavas. Anyatha doshah syat. Otherwise, there is the possibility of a fault. So why? And then Jiva Goswami also quoted a verse from Sri Narad, that one who worships somebody else in the presence of the Guru without the permission of the Guru accrues a fault, and his worship has the risk of turning out to be fruitless. So why avoid taking permission from the Guru? It's better to take permission from the Guru and take shiksha from somebody else. So that is it is required to take permission from the Guru, because either the Guru should give guidance, and the Guru is not able to give guidance, at least they can give permission to give guidance, to take guidance from somebody else. At least that broad-mindedness should be there. So, and if that broad-mindedness is not there, then Sri Jiva Goswami said the disciple is poor, stuck on both sides. I specified that also today. So all these things were discussed today.
Yeah, it is discussed, Prabhuji, but in this scenario, he has not sought the advice itself.
So that's the disciple's fault. That is the disciple's fault. Yeah, he should have sought permission from the Guru before taking such a major step in his life.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. We have next Omkar Prabhu. You can unmute yourself, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dāna Pranam.
Prabhuji,
in the lecture series, you quoted about how this verse gradually goes from the Kanishth adhikari to the uttama adhikari and then forward to the Mahabhagavata.
Right.
So in the Sandarbha also, Jiva Goswami eventually he spoke about association with Mahabhagavata. But I think in the same the flow, later on Jiva Goswami says that if one cannot find such a Mahabhagavat Guru, then he should associate with many Shiksha Gurus who can give him teachings.
Right.
So, but still the point would always be there that such many Shiksha Gurus combined won't be able to give the experience which a single Mahabhagavat Guru can give. So, what is the life of the teaching of a Guru? Is it the experiential part, or is it the experience plus teaching?
It's not simply the teaching, it is also the experience and awareness of Bhagavan. It's the practical experience of the shifting of the consciousness towards Bhagavan that matters. Somebody may give theoretical teaching, but if you sit in the association of a Mahabhagavat and you relish Krishna Katha with the Mahabhagavat, you see them relishing Krishna Katha. And then that relishment rubs off on you. That's a different experience altogether. That experience is very rare to be had and a very unique experience to be had. So that cannot be substituted merely by teaching. Although somebody who gives teachings and good teachings from Shastra is doing a major service in our lives. But therefore he said abhave, only when such a person is absent, one can take multiple Shiksha Gurus. That's okay, to fill as many gaps as possible. And but still one needs to come in contact with a person who already has experience of Bhagavad Bhakti, and so that Bhagavad Bhakti can rub on to us. So that is indispensable. All right.
Yes, bro. So it's not a permanent solution. It's just like
it's
I could say some strong solution for now.
Yeah. It's currently what you can do while you are trying to come in association with a Mahabhagavata.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Next, we have Irina Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for this opportunity to ask a question. It's my first time running here, and I want to ask you a question. For a long time, I can't listen someone very regularly, but now I listen Vana Shiksha Guru regularly, and I'm very inspired of his Katha. I feel that through this listening, I get some spiritual realization, and I want to serve his instructions and to serve his preaching. But sometimes I fear that he can live with Koan or something like this, and therefore I think about that I have doubts that I have correct understanding of Guru Tattva, because I have feeling to serve this person, to serve this guru, but I understand that I am in ISKCON, in Srila Prabhupada family, and I feel respect for Srila Prabhupada and to another Diksha Guru, but to this person, I feel strong desire to serve. And I want to ask how to take this risk that something unexpected might happen to Guru, and how to act in this case. What does Guru loyalty? Because I feel that this fear, it stops me to surrender.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
So, if I understood your question correctly, you already have a Diksha Guru? Can you please unmute?
Yes,
I thought that I want to take Diksha from one person, and I asked him about this relationship with Shiksha Guru, and he said me not be in hurry with Diksha and just continue listening of the Shiksha Guru.
Okay. So you already have some aspiration of Diksha from certain Vaishnava, and you asked him about a Shiksha Guru. He said, don't be in a hurry about Diksha or Shiksha. All right. So the thing is, if we have already accepted somebody as a Diksha Guru, then with their consultation, we can hear somebody whom we like for Shiksha with their permission. And in your case, it seems that they have given permission, but they have said, just wait for some time, don't be in such a hurry. So my suggestion is to follow their instruction that your aspiring Diksha Guru has given you, that you continue listening to them, but don't immediately commit to such a person, because their loyalty towards one Sangha is not yet clearly established. So meanwhile, you can just continue listening to that particular Shiksha Guru, because you have been instructed by your Diksha Guru to do so. So you can continue doing that. In due course of time, after your Diksha is done, then you can again ask the same question. Once your Diksha is done by this particular Diksha Guru, you can ask the same question again, whether should I continue listening to him or should I not continue listening to him. But for the time being, you can continue. You have no issues, because your Diksha Guru, your aspiring Diksha Guru, has allowed you to listen to the Shiksha Guru. All right. I hope that clarifies your query. Thank you. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Next, we have Rahul Prabhu. I will go ahead and unmute yourself, please.
Yes. Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
My pranams.
Prabhuji, I don't know whether the question is relevant for today's class, but it is about that Hanti Nindanti Vadveshti. That verse only which you pointed out. And it is one incident which happened in Rupa Goswami's pastime, that he was...
the unknown offense. Right.
Unknown offense. Because he started laughing, but he was meditating on a pastime, and he was in that. So what means it is unintentional, but Sanatan Goswami told him that you have to invite everyone and then find who has got offended and the person who does not come. So that was the... So we find that this unintentional also is really severe. Means I wanted to know what are your thoughts about it from Shastra.
Okay. So the thing is, this is a particular story, and we are going to, the thing is, I wanted to take up this discussion in the next verse, because the next verse is about faults of the Vaishnavas. So my request is that we'll take this up in the next verse, because a detailed discussion on this, on offenses that may happen without our volition, is necessary, and how to counteract those. So that requires...
So you take this also.
This will be taken up in the next verse, because the next verse is providing a good window of opportunity for a discussion on such sorts of offenses. And this verse is currently, the context is not allowing that window. So although I could discuss it here, but it will take time, and I would like to give some good. I would like to give it good justice. So my only request is I mean, let's wait for the next verse, and in the next verse I'll definitely cover this point, Prabhuji. Does
Sure,
that,
sure, Prabhuji.
so that I hope that
Yeah, yeah.
satisfies your
Yes.
query. Huh?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Dandavat pranam.
My pranams.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, we have one question on the chat. I texted privately with that devotee. He's traveling. So he said that voice may be a lot of background or interruption. So we can probably, if that has not already been answered, we can answer. The question is, Prabhuji, you have emphasized on taking permission from current well-standing Guru, but he has so many disciples and not at all available to guide. Then can we directly choose Shiksha Guru?
The thing is, not available to guide is one thing, and not available to even give answer for one query. Is that the condition? Because I'm really, sometimes I'm really surprised to see the conditions that they're not even available to answer one query. If not even available to answer one query, then at least have they given a general instruction that you can take shiksha from somebody whom you like. At least they should have that facility, that they should give a general instruction that I have so many disciples, I can't even give one instruction to them. So they can accept a shiksha guru according to their choice. At least if they have given such a general instruction to all their disciples, then that should also work. And if that is also not there, then Hare Krishna, what can I say? The Shastra will also not consider the case. That is what Jiva Goswami says, that is what I'll also say. Shastra will also not consider such a case. So I say, that is my answer to this query.
I think it answers it, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Okay, last one we have Sachindra Krishna Prabhu again. So please unmute yourself.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, thank you so much. A lot of questions were answered, especially from many of the devotees asking it. The last lecture, you had mentioned that it's paramount importance that we need to serve a living individual, uttama adhikari, in our lives to progress deeply into bhajan, correct?
Right, obviously.
So most of the uttama adhikaris nowadays, even if we find who that is as our shiksha guru, they're traveling widely. In the past, probably 100, 200 years ago, even 50, without the revolution of airplanes and so forth, they were very local. So you could go there and ask them questions and so forth. Today, obviously, we have Zoom and so many other avenues, but still that personal interaction is very difficult. But to serve that uttama adhikari is of utmost importance, as you rightfully described, the Shastra has said. How can you just quickly let me know what the definition of serving that uttama adhikari is, so that you at least can do that sincerely to the best of our efforts in today's age, but at the same time, make sure that we're advancing. We want to do justice to that service.
Right. So according to today's age, because people are separated by distance, and even if we manage to find a person who fits the criteria of uttama adhikari, we may be separated. So service is of two types. Srila Jiva Goswami has said, Prasanga Rupa Seva and Paricharya Rupa Seva. Prasanga Rupa Seva is association through any means, by listening to them, by sitting next to them and asking them some questions. So whatever way such association is possible is called Prasanga Rupa Seva. And Paricharya Rupa Seva is to do some service for them. So that is also, important. So whenever we get the chance, we should do some Paricharya Rupa Seva. We should do something for them, reciprocate with them, whatever is possible from our side. And associating with them is also a service that we can render to them by sitting close to them when they are speaking. That itself is a service that we can try to render. Bare minimum service is to give attention to them when they are speaking something. So giving attention to them is also in one form considered as a service towards them. This at least we can do. And if it is possible for us, we can also try to reciprocate to the best of our abilities as much as we can reciprocate with them. Because whatever they have taught us, such uttama adhikari shiksha gurus, whatever they teach us is life-saving realizations. Let me repeat, it is life-saving realizations. nobody else probably will take the effort and trouble to give to us what our Uttam Adhikari Shiksha Gurus will give us. Nobody else will take that. Some people don't have the caliber to do that, and some people don't have the inclination to do that. And somebody who has the caliber and the inclination to do that, we should definitely try to do something in order to reciprocate with them. Otherwise, it is of utmost ungratefulness on our behalf to not reciprocate with such a person. Therefore, we should, as much as possible, try to associate personally with them. I usually don't like to speak about my own self, but I try to make it a point that even though my own spiritual master has many disciples, whenever it is possible for me to associate personally, I try my best to associate personally with my own spiritual master and try to render some personal service unto him. So at least when I am speaking about it to others, I should have done it myself. Otherwise, I do not have the adhikar to speak it to others. So therefore, I am only speaking to others because I have tried and done it myself in my own life, and therefore I am able to speak of it to others. Even though you may have spiritual masters who have many disciples, still one should try to meet one spiritual master and render some service to them as often as possible without disturbing their existing sevas. This is what one can definitely try to do. Please, whenever possible, dear devotees, whomsoever you have selected in your heart as Uttam Adhikaris, Mahabhagavata Gurus, Shiksha or Diksha Gurus, please try to render some service to them as and when possible through you. So this is the answer to your query, Sachindra Krishna Prabhu. I hope it satisfies to a certain degree. I know it is not the same as the previous environment wherein the Guru and the disciple would both sit under a tree and the Guru would answer all the queries of the disciple. But it is still, in some ways there are some benefits, in some ways there are some downsides. But still we should try to follow the tradition as much as it is feasible and possible for us today. I hope that answers the query. And we have one newly raised hand. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Oh, very cool. My pronunciation. Yes.
So you may have answered this question while I was gone. Just let me know and I'll watch the recording. But when we refer to the different stages of adhikari, Kanishth, Madhyam, and uttama, according to the verses you gave us from Shastra, that's referring to someone's knowledge in Shastra, their application of that in their life, expertise in resolving doubts. Is there also a different gradation for describing Vaishnavas in which stage of bhakti they are, from Shraddha to, Ruchi to Asakti, Bhava, and Prema?
Is there a verse which describes the stages?
Is there a different gradation? Like if I say Mahabhagavata, is that the same thing as Uttama Adhikari? Or would that refer to someone who's in the stages of Sadhya Bhakti?
Okay. So there is there are no parallels drawn between these different categorizations. It is not easy to draw parallels between these different categorizations. Some parallels can be drawn. An Uttam Adhikari, basically a Mahabhagavat is not only an Uttam Adhikari, but he has also attained the stages of higher stages, basically, of Bhava and Prema. A rough categorization like this can be drawn, but there is no strict categorization or correlation drawn between these stages, because sometimes the term Mahabhagavat can overlap with many other terms in other systems of categorizations. So therefore I keep them in separate compartments. So when I keep all categorizations in separate compartments, because I don't want to end up mixing them. But when it comes to the qualification of a Shiksha or Diksha Guru, the previous acharyas were very clear about Uttam Adhikari. So I use that particular term. But Sri Rupa Goswami also finally ended up saying Anya Nindadi Shunya Hridam. basically not only somebody who is bhajana vigyam, not only somebody who is an uttama adhikari, but somebody who is attained the final result of being an uttama adhikari. What is that? Basically, that is somebody who is attained the higher stages of bhava and prema. And to associate with such a devotee it's a very infectious type of association, because you get to relish the bhakti rasa of the pastimes of Shri Krishna directly in the association of such a person. So that is a very different type of association. But there is a strict correlation has not yet been drawn between these. So that is the answer to query.
Prabhuji, one time I heard that from Shraddha to Anartha Nivritti is Kanishta, from Nishtha to Asakti is Madhyama, and Bhava upwards, Prema, Pranaya, etc. is Uttama. What do you think of that idea?
Such a categorization was not given by Srila Rupa Goswami. The term Shraddha, etc. are also by Sri Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita. Adav Shraddha Tatah Sadhu Sangotha Bhajana Kriya. This verse is also by Sri Rupa Goswami. And the categorization of Uttam, Madhyam and Kanishth is also by Srila Rupa Goswami. So at least Srila Rupa Goswami did not give the correspondence between these two in Bhakti Rasamrita. Somebody else may have done that, and we respect all realizations. But we want to hear from Sri Rupa Goswami, the person who coined the terms. And that is why when I said Uttam, Madhyam, Kanishth, people define Uttam, Madhyam and Kanishth sometimes in their own ways. And then who will give respect to the definitions given by Rupa Goswami? Tomorrow I can redefine Uttam Adhikari, Madhyam. Some people, redefine Uttam Adhikari. Like I heard one time. And Uttam Adhikari is somebody who has fully dedicated himself to the service of the temple. So one time I heard this definition. So I said, Acha, wonderful. Then who is Madhyam Adhikari? Somebody who comes only on Sundays, weekends. Acha. And who is the Kanishth Adhikari? Somebody who comes only for eating prasadam. I said, oh, wonderful. Rupa Goswami, on hearing these definitions, Rupa Goswami will think, did I teach the proper person, or, so these people are taking terms from Rupa Goswami and redefining them. There are individuals who are doing that. When we are taking terms from Rupa Goswami, we should also take the meanings of the terms from Rupa Goswami. And Rupa Goswami has not given any correlation between these things. So that is what it is.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So now I'll ask all the devotees to unmute and give a big thank you to Hari Pārṣada Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shriman Hari Pārṣada Prabhu ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Sri Rupa Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Take care.
My pranams. Take care, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Paul. Take care, Paramarkarana Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.